This week celebrates the 25th anniversary of the opening of the Marble Arch Caves here in Fermanagh. Since 1985, around 1.2 million people have travelled from all corners of the world to discover what lies beneath the Fermanagh countryside. A subterranean haven of waterfalls, rivers, winding passages and high chambers, it's thought that these caves have existed for 1.5 million years. Hidden below the ground, a secret world lay dormant. That was until 1895, when Edward Martel, a cave explorer, awoke one of the most fascinating discoveries not only in Fermanagh, but in the world.
Edward Martel was the first proper explorer of Marble Arch Caves. He was a French speleologist, that just means cave scientist. He was really the person who brought caves from people being afraid of them due to superstition and brought it out into a proper science. And in 1895 he came to England and Ireland, and he must have known that there were caves in this area because he pre-arranged to stay with the Earl of Enniskillen, who owned the land that the caves were on, and Martel was staying there as his guest and was facilitated in his trip around Fermanagh by some of the Earl's staff, the gamekeeper in particular, a guy called Bowles, brought Martel up here, and Martel and a young fella who was a member of the Royal Irish Academy in Dublin, a guy called Jemison, who was interested in bats, had arranged to meet Martel. So Martel and Jemison set off exploring the caves using equipment that Martel had brought with him, including a little collapsible canvas boat, a bit like the early version of a rubber dinghy. And the two guys paddled off into the unknown darkness, and that's what they found.
Martel was instantly impressed by the cave system, but knew there was much more to these caves than he had time to find on his 2-day exploration. He returned to France and quickly began writing a book on what he discovered in the UK and Ireland.
One chapter in the book he devoted to Marble Arch Caves and described it in some detail. There were some beautiful engravings that he got drawn up from sketches that he'd made. Interestingly, in the last line of his book, he suggests that Marble Arch Caves would make a very fine tourist cave. This was 1897, so a very early vision for tourism in the west of Ireland. And 90 odd years later we opened the caves in 1985, and I'm sure Martel would have been quietly happy with that, I think.
Richard Watson has been working at the cave since the opening and says it's been a real labour of love.
It's been a privilege working here. I really get a lot out of it. I get quite a lot of quiet satisfaction out of seeing people enjoying it, and kids coming here and learning about the environment and going away with a real interest and enthusiasm. I also like to think that many more people come along after me and do this job after me, and I mean the cave could still be operating as a tourist attraction in 200 or 300 years for all I know. Hopefully it will. And I hope they get the same enjoyment out of it that I have.
So if you would like to experience the wonder of the caves, they're open daily until the end of September. Aislinn Hagan for Fermanagh TV.